effort here is to articulate in some way the chapter statements. Oh, let's see the page in which we as brothers are in religious life, in theological understanding of our vocation, with the Paschal mystery, because I deeply believe that still the Paschal mystery has something to say to us. And also I found in the text of the Paschal mystery in the Gospels, transforming power. What I can see is that there is a transforming power that is still present, and it touches very deeply our humanity. It touches very deeply our own self as religious. So my idea is to articulate the insights from the chapter with the Paschal mystery, and to prove that it has this transforming power. On the other hand, I still believe that this story narrated 2,000 years ago with some understandings that we no longer hold. For example, that Jesus died because was the will of his Father. That was wrong. That was presented wrong for everyone, and we are carrying still the thing. So we have to read the Paschal mystery with new eyes, new understandings. And Jesus didn't die because it was the will of his Father, was because political and religious jealousy. So that was the issue. He died because but he was ready to die because he was modeling a new life for us. Okay, so I have these two ideas before the presentation, and I hope you are able to discern during this day for more reflection and more prayer, to discern, okay, that was wrong. The way it was presented to me was wrong, but I will try to discover the new meanings in my heart. Okay, the first insight, or the first spark from the chapter. The Spirit is calling us to journey together through contemplative experiences, leading us to ongoing transformation. And I have chosen this symbol of this insight is the empty jar, a very expensive bottle of perfume. In fact, the cost was 300 dinars, was almost the price of a salary for 1 year. So this bottle that Mary is carrying to anoint Jesus represented something very expensive, something very valuable. And what Mary does, she poured over Jesus' body the whole content of that bottle. And then she dried out with her hair, because it was excessive, was an enormous amount of perfume. So that's why in John Gospel, at the end of this scene, John said the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. So it was an excess. It was a valuable thing put over Jesus. Brothers, contemplative life means that we put every day the best thing we own, our time, our energy, all that we own, we put it over Jesus' body. But Jesus' body is also the cosmos, is also the universe. We believe in that. So when I put aside a moment for contemplation, I'm doing the same act that Mary did. And from that point on, the perfume that she poured over Jesus also is carried by Mary, because she dried the excess with her own hair. So we carry the rest of the day. If we are having a real contemplative life, we can carry that perfume, that fragrance, when we are living our daily task, our daily living. So this is contemplation, transforms us because we put the best on it, and because in the case of the young men here, the most valuable they have is their time. They want to get big things in life, studies, work, ministries. They try to prove that they have a vocation. But they have to stop early in the morning, late in the evening, for half an hour. Do this, brothers, please, and we will change the congregation as also we change ourselves, because we will begin ongoing transformation and will be transformed by this fragrance, Jesus' fragrance among us. Another symbols for this for this insight, this chapter insight, is the cross. And the cross today is an empty cross. And that's the major symbol in Christianity, and it still have a value for us, because we know the sacrifices that are connected to the cross. And in normal language, we say, oh, I'm carrying a cross. Oh, this community is a cross. Oh, those brothers have become a cross for me. Well, it means something. It's an invitation for transformation. And the sealed tomb. The sealed tomb today is the silence of God. And for many of the brothers, this time is a silence of God, represent the silence of God. Where is God? Where is God in all this mess? In the European province, in the Oceania province, the brothers are asking themselves, where is God for us? What God is doing for us? We have lost a lot. We have lost our prestige, our schools, our money. We no longer are the same strong congregation. So the tomb is sealed for them. The second statement. The Spirit is calling us to acknowledge our fears and embrace diversity, to release energy for life and mission. I wonder, in the Paschal narrative, why Peter, that was the first disciple, later the first leader of the church, is presented in so tough situations when he betrayed our Lord. When the servant of the high priest, pointing him, said, hey, you are one of the Jesus followers. He said, no, I am not. Look, he speaks as a Galilean. He is. He repeated, no, no, no. But the gospel doesn't hide the failure, the fears that the first Christians felt. The disciples ran away. They abandoned Jesus. And this is mentioned. So why is it that? Why didn't the gospel didn't hide that? So it's the first intent in the Christian community to acknowledge their fears, to acknowledge their failures. And in the same moment that we begin saying, okay, brothers, I know the perfect brother I look like, or I pretend to be. That's the transformation moment. That's the beginning. And in the church happened also. The most accurate scholars on New Testament, they consider, how can we know that this is true? And they said, it's true because it really touches a dimension of the church that could be hidden, could be kept. These two stories in the Paschal narrative, and we know one very well, that is the Emmaus experience, because we have been practicing in the last 20 years, I think, that we say, okay, if we need to dialogue, we need to talk about it. We have to share our fears and our hopes, and let's walk. And in the Emmaus narrative, it's also something that sometimes we don't connect it to the Eucharist. It means God's presence among us in a table, seated with us in a table. What I found is the personal transformation is that the Christian community discovered a new sense of the body. They were accustomed to go to temples, to do sacrifices of animals, and to celebrate once a year a Paschal dinner, a Paschal, the Paschal Seder, they call it. But also, at the beginning of Christianity was a transformation of their own understanding of the body. It means our bodies can represent God. So that's why in the moment, in this material form of bread, they recognize, oh, God is with us in this reality, in this situation. But also for me, it's very clear in Thomas' experience. He rebirthed his own brotherhood to the group because he was ready to touch very deeply Jesus' wounds. So in our relationships, we are always invited to do that. When a brother said to us, pray for me, I'm suffering, I'm living a very difficult moment, I'm thinking that I'm not worthy of this vocation, please help me. That brother is doing the same as Jesus did. Tom, you don't believe, but I'm here with you. You are full of doubts, but I'm here with you. And you can see that I'm standing by you because you can touch me. You can penetrate, you can perforate my own life in order that we become brothers. This is the representation of Thomas. It's just amazing because now I'm living in Rome. I can see the original. But this is for me is penetrating the life of our brothers in order to rebirth our brotherhood. So when we say, okay, let's have a reflective moment, let's talk about, let's express our feeling, let's do our check-ins. This is what we are doing. We are touching deeply the life of our brothers. And if we persevere in those exercises that are really new for us, we will discover, a new way of being brothers. Brothers in the weakness, brothers in the difficulties, brothers in the addictions. Brothers can be connected because they allow to each other to be penetrated, to go deeply in our own lives. And this is the most striking. I was presented this in Africa twice, but yesterday in Nairobi was very challenging because it was several reactions against feminine energy, positive reactions as well as negative. I remember exactly the moment when in our congregation chapter, this idea of being accepting energy, feminine energy in our life was very, in the beginning. We male also have feminine energy, and that's the energy we want to discover. But we discovered that allowing ourselves to have feminine presence around us. And I live in South America, where the word macho was coined, and I understand very well the relationships male and female when there is they are not equals. We have people serving in our houses and they call us brother. Okay, brother. Yes, brother. Okay, brother. Thank you very much, brother. So we are accustomed to be related with women always from the top to the bottom. And this has to change. We are not allowing women around us to be equals. And we cannot be influenced by them, by that feminine energy, if we are always consider ourselves with the authority to teach them, to say them what to do, not to relate to them as companions. And I think the pain and the suffering for abuses in our institute, but also in the church, happened because we have problems as male. We are not able to allow feminine energy come into our life. We stop them. No, that's not your role. That's my role. And that's why it's so difficult. I experienced that in South America when some teachers in our schools became principals. And then we brothers have to accept them as principals. So we have to accept them in the role of leadership. So that's the thing. That we became a toxic male congregation, an abusive congregation, because we didn't recognize the feminine aspects of 50% of the creation, of the human beings. And I see this is very clear in the gospel narrative or the gospel celebrations. Jesus' weakness in Gethsemane never was hidden. It was very clear that he was weak, that he asked his disciples, pray for me, accompany me, be with me. That in the Golgotha, he said, God, God, why you have forsaken me? So he was saying, I'm weak. I cannot stand this. And this is that women usually do. They gather and they express their feelings and their fears. Oh, I think it's very difficult to live this life. Oh, no, Beth, please. They hug each other. This is typical bathroom girls' conversation. Yesterday, in the celebration of in the adoration of the Holy Cross, we have read the first song of the Yahweh's servant. This is pure feminine energy in a male that is suffering, in a male that has to accept pain in life. And he say, okay, I will do it. I will die as a lamb. The disciples by the cross, in John's Gospel, it said Mary, his mother, the other Mary, but also the disciple that he loves more. This is the beloved disciple. So he's acknowledged because he loved it, because he could have a different relationship with Jesus. The others one probably they were more distant. But those are the ones who are by the cross. And the women at the tomb. We need feminine energy in our life because they will help us to acknowledge where there is death. We can overcome death with life, with new energy. And in this icon of Mary Magdalene, she's wonderfully covered with a red cloak. And in that red cloak, she represents, she is very self-secure. No? She really is a woman that can express their femininity, covering, beautifully with a red cloak. It's a statement of power. And we need powerful women around us. No servants. Women who will help us to discover new ways of being male. And she's pointing with energy, life, the egg, the Easter egg. She's totally convinced of it. New life is coming if we can become a new family of human beings where men and women are fully accepted. Last one. I'm finishing, brothers, so you can go for breakfast. 2 questions. What image of the Paschal mystery has more transformative power in this moment of your life? We can pass. Sometimes we're attracted too much to the glory of Easter Sunday. Sometimes we are more attracted of the suffering. So we have a big spectrum of different images, and share with your brothers in community. This is the in this moment of this life, and also why. And then connected to the chapter statements, what is the chapter statement that is generating more interest in my daily prayer, in my community living, in my struggles, in my ministry? And if you have the chance, have a Emmaus walking with your brothers in community. If not, you can do it also by yourself. But remember, today is the day of a big stone covering the tomb. It's the silence of God. So instead also of this question, you can go and just be confronted by the silence of God in this almost the end of the Holy Week. So brothers, I will go in time until tomorrow. I wish you all a happy Easter. May the glory and joy of the resurrection, the resurrected Jesus be with you. Okay? And thank you, Sunil, for inviting me.